All right, welcome back, ladies and gents. Today we are at the Chasms. It's a place on the Isle of Man. Here's my wife, Kristen. She's just hanging out. We're going for a walk together today, but she's going to go off now. She doesn't want to be in the video, she said today. So see you in a little bit. So firstly, I hope you enjoyed, well, is that the right word? Enjoyed yesterday's video. Pretty crazy. I told you it was a crazy one. Some of you didn't believe it, but it is nuts, some of the stuff that is going on right now. And now you understand when people say, oh, it's Putin or the inflation. You can say, actually, have you seen this video? And I would encourage all of you to share that video actually with people in your community, because I just don't think they would believe some of the stuff that the bankers, these financiers, are doing at the moment. It's absolutely crazy, all the stuff they're doing. I wanted to read off some of my favorite funny comments from yesterday. Here we go. Let's start with these. So these comments are in relation to the, all the CO2, carbon net zero, the destruction of the economy. First one, I'm fine with this. If that's what it takes to get CO2 emissions down, I'm willing to suffer the consequences. Are you indeed? Are you really? Next comment made me laugh. You are being too harsh on these people. They are just trying to help. Oh, boo-hoo. They're just trying to help us apparently. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they're trying to help. And then here's my third and I think favorite comment. So you prefer drown, yes? Only have 18 months left before we pass point no return. Loads of exclamation marks. Climate denier. Oh, I think that's my favorite comment from all the sort of CO2 videos. And talking of crazy, let's start with some of the crazy, just nuts things that are going on at the moment. So there's this new trend. I had never heard of it until yesterday. Sologamy, okay? So solo, and then G-A-M-Y. Record number of people now marrying themselves. Yeah, this is for real. So I want to read out my favorite comment from this article then. Wow, it's so windy up here. I'm trying to hold this piece of paper and it's blowing everywhere. But let me do my best. Favorite comment then from this article about sologamy. This is great. More people should get on board to help reduce climate change. So someone replied, what do you mean? Question mark, exclamation mark. And they replied again, couples make more CO2 than single people. This is what I mean at the moment. People have just gone absolutely crazy. I was speaking to this lady that lives not far away from me. She's in her 90s. I've never asked her how old she is, but I would guess someone said she's mid-90s, and she has this tiny little dog, this grey dog, and it looks older than she is. I mean, it can just about walk. So the two of them take an hour to walk down the street. Bless them. It's so sweet to see. But I talk to her all the time, and it's very interesting, when I actually speak to her and I ask her, what do you think of, the society today, and what do you think of everything going on? Now, a lot of people, she says something different. A lot of the older people who are, say, in their 80s, 90s that I speak to, they say, the youth these days, the youth. But this old lady, she doesn't say the youth. Goody-goodies, that's what she calls them. And she says, this is what makes me laugh, they haven't got a brain cell between them. They love watching all of this, what we call media, celebrities, and who can say the most ridiculous things. And she was saying that they'll all get their comeuppance. I've been around long enough to know. I've seen it all before. All these people, they're going to get their comeuppance. But I always laugh when she says they haven't got a brain cell between them. Next weird article this week then. Children to eat the bugs. UK primary school children to be served edible insects, including mealworms and crickets, rather than, here we go, CO2 toxic meat, claims leading health experts. Yeah, because I listen to health experts these days, not. Scientists urge the next generation to embrace eco-friendly meat substitutes before it's too late. We must make the transition now. It's the right thing to do, says a nutcase. But don't worry, because they've got this new solution to all these problems of too many people, Tamagotchi children. I don't know how many of you actually remember Tamagotchis, but they were these little like pocket electronic devices, I don't even know what it was. It was some sort of Japanese thing, I think, but I can't remember. And well, look at the rocks behind here. But yeah, you basically had to try and keep these Tamagotchi things. It was like an egg and hatched. I can't even remember what it was now, but it was like this thing you had to hatch out. Well, now they're going to do this with children. They're going to actually let parents have Tamagotchi style digital children in the metaverse in order to help with CO2 emissions so there aren't too many people on the planet. Yeah, that's not weird at all, is it? The article says virtual offspring could become fully accepted in society, would be cheap to raise and don't even have to grow up, according to the Telegraph. Next weird article then about cinemas, and again this is all the UK. UK seems to be leading all the wokeness and the weirdness at the moment. Canada seems to be leading stuff on the other side, carbon and GUN control and all this other stuff. So this used to be an old cafe here. Cinemas now accepting digital ID cards to counter abuse aimed at staff and proof of age. Of course, that's the reason for digital IDs. Being turned away from a 15 or 18 rated film for not having the right ID with you might be a thing of the past. This is what the article claims. And I bet you so many parents will actually go along with this. They'll get these digital IDs for their children, which, by the way, they're talking about actually linking this to your DNA basically later on. So it will start off with a digital ID, then they're going to have the fingerprint, they're going to have the facial scan, all these things connected to this digital ID. It's really weird. Then it will be the CBDC, central bank digital currency. So we've got all this lovely stuff to come. At the same time, the energy crisis, getting rid of all of these fossil fuels and getting all the carbon emissions down for everyone. But personally, I think we're screwed, basically, to be blunt about it. I just think we're in really, really big trouble. The world is just not the way it used to be, and I think it's heading in a very, very dark direction. I really do. And I speak to a lot of people who are in their 80s and 90s, and occasionally I'm fortunate enough to speak to someone who's 100 or more. And I hope you can't hear this wind because it's making my eyes water. It's so strong here. But look where we are. You got to expect a little bit of wind up here. But one of the things I always take from these conversations is A, how fortunate I feel to be able to get this knowledge, I guess, listen, and because that's really what it's all about. Too many people now, they talk just too much, and they don't listen enough. One thing I try and do is to actually listen, especially when I'm in a social setting. You probably think I talk non-stop because that's what I do here on a day-to-day basis, but it's not true. I tend to speak very little when I'm in groups and socially, because I want to actually learn. I want to be able to listen to people and learn from them. So anyway, getting to the point here, I really just enjoy talking to people who are a lot older than me because they share so much wisdom about the world, and look, they've seen it all. They've been there, they've seen it all before. And they know how this is going to end. You keep hearing it all the time, that this society now that we've created is just parasitical, basically. It's all about who can, be the most woke, who can virtual signal the best. Oh, look at this. We've got some chuffs behind. See these black birds here? They're called chuffs. They make a funny sound, funny call. You only see them in a few places, actually. But yeah, people just don't think anymore. You've probably noticed this yourself. They just blindly follow whatever the media says. They blindly follow what the community says. And it's weird to me because I really don't care if I'm in a big group setting or an awkward social setting and everyone's saying something that I don't agree with. I'll basically just say I don't agree. And then they'll say, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't agree? And I'll just tell them my thoughts and my theories on some of this stuff. And even though it's completely logical, and you probably have this as well if you're a subscriber to this channel, people just say, what? They're shocked, they're outraged. It's like saying 2 + 2 = 4, and they say, oh, no, well, it can't. You know, the number might be 2 + 2 = 4, but you've got to think about this. You've got to think about emotions. And you've got to think, if you get what I'm referring to here, we just saw, I think it was last week, all these new flashcards that were being used in a primary school. I don't know what that is for Americans, but anyway, it's very young children. Some new, how shall we say, a new type of flashcards that describes genders and men getting pregnant and all this weird stuff. But this is what we're teaching the kids now. So if you expect the next generation to be better when they're growing up with all this stuff, it's not going to happen. You're going to create this new generation that's going to be even more extreme, even more woke and misinformed than the last generation. So it's just going to get worse, I think. So for everyone who's thinking, this is all going to get better, it's all going to improve, how? I can't see it. I really just can't see how all of this is going to get better, how it's all going to improve. On another note, I've just released my latest 1 hour long monthly investment video for the Patreon. So the link is below in the description if you want to watch that video. If you're not a member, definitely worth every single penny that you'll spend on that video every month. And not just that, there's tons of other benefits. I won't go on about it in this video, but that video is, you'll love it anyway. You'll get so much from it. It'll tell you everything, and macro, give you a big macro overview where the stock markets are going, where different asset classes are going. So definitely check that out. But we got some good news today, or I think it was yesterday it actually came out. But Russia is allowing the grain ships to leave Ukraine, leave the ports of Ukraine. So that should ease the burden on this food crisis that we have right now. So that's some good news coming out of the region anyway. I think we just hit the 100th day of the conflict actually, with no end in sight. And actually Russia just made a statement about the United States. The US is adding fuel to the fire by sending long-range rockets that can strike inside Russia, and they've accused the US of trying to deliberately prolong the war. So basically these rocket systems they've sent can fire into actual Russia itself. It can, you know, they're not short range, they're much longer range rockets. What else? Well, Sweden's just sent $100 million worth of weaponry as well. Usually a very neutral country actually, but they've decided to get involved. No one knows why. Oh, it's a mystery. Oh, is it a mystery, or do they want to get into NATO? Yeah, I think that's probably why. They're probably seeing that as an investment to actually get into NATO here. But I think we'll leave it there today. I'm going to continue on this walk, beautiful walk. Let me just show you one last time here, what we've got behind. Such a stunning walk, highly recommend coming out here. Wow, there's a huge rabbit, actually that's a hare I think. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today. Take care, God bless. I will see you on Sunday for the live stream. So until then, take care, see you soon.